मैं भी हीरो. Life was back to normal after pop stars, albeit with a fair share of fame and recognition. This is when the theatre bug bit me. I was part of DAV College's theatre team called Agaz, and we made a name for ourselves at theatre festivals. Rochak Kohli, with whom I later composed Pani Da Rang, was part of this group too. More often than not, we won the youth theatre festival we were participating in and reached and won the national round too. My parents, particularly my father, didn't approve of my theatre stint, for they had a cliche image of theatre person in mind. Shabbily dressed smokers who drank innumerable cups of tea a day and sat introspecting about life. My explanation didn't change his perception, so I continued doing theatre on the sly. Sometimes it is good to be rebellious if your heart and soul believe in what you do. Note to self: there is no point being a non-conformist for something for which you have neither the passion nor the understanding, being a rebel without a cause. After 10th grade, like most other Chandigarh kids, I gave myself a choice between being an engineer and a doctor. Since mathematics didn't like me much, I opted for the medical stream biology, chemistry, and physics to be precise. They didn't seem to hate me but could just about tolerate me enough to let me pass my 12th grade. As fate would have it, I cleared one of the entrance exams and secured a seat in a dental college. This was the time I seriously thought about my future. Now, had I excelled in the field of medicine, I should have been able to earn myself an MBBS seat. If I didn't excel in it and didn't even have an aptitude for it, would it make any sense trying to prove myself for the rest of my life? The answer was a big no, but the realization dawned only after I had proved my mettle in the field of dramatics. Time and again, I was awarded the best actor in theatre circuits, and my oratory skills were also highly appreciated. I think it would have been foolish of me to have let go of the BDS seat had I been medico at dramatics too. I think one has to be practical enough to weigh talent and aptitude an unbiased scale. Since I am in Mumbai now and have faced dilemmas like many of you, I can't help but share with you my observation of the various kinds of people who come to this city with a pocket full of dreams. Some of them are my own distant relatives and friends whose aspirations of becoming stars, yes, I deliberately say star and not actor as they are not even remotely associated with acting, have become stronger after seeing me make it in Bollywood. ਇਹ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਮਾਦੇ ਹੈ. If he can do it, then we can do it better. Is what they have exclaimed far too often. This is not to ridicule anyone, but perhaps growing up I too thought it was easy to become an actor. You don't need to be educated or acquire any technical qualifications. You just need to be bit of dramebaz and develop some rippling muscles. Had it not been a gradual journey for me, which included completing my master's degree, I would have certainly lost the plot. Coming back to the kind of people thronging Mumbai with the hopes of becoming the next Salman and Shah Rukh, I come across many who believe they are incredibly good looking and extremely talented in their own eyes. Of course, everyone is special in their own way, and confidence goes a long way in this industry, but one should not jump the gun when it comes to self assumption. My humble request to these people would be to look at themselves from the world's eyes. Put your looks and talent to test. Of course, winning a beauty pageant in a small town with only 10 other contestants doesn't really qualify as a test. If, even after getting enough chances to prove yourself, you haven't been able to impress the world, haven't caused it to sit up and take notice, it's time for some self introspection. There is a possibility that you either don't have an aptitude for it or are not working hard enough. Of course, there are expectations, and you might be doing everything right, and success might still evade you. And I am no one to tell you whether or not your ambitions are realistic, but then again, these are my own observations. Herein comes another breed of people who are extremely talented and yet have been slogging to make it big for years now. I'm not kidding. These are not just one or two people, but at least 25 to 30 that I know of who have been trying for more than 10 years in this industry to make it big. Those who have been around for 5 odd years are many, so those who started at 25 are 30 today. Of course, there is no set age for being an actor, but one can't evade reality for too long. Just how long can you keep mentioning that you are 22 on the audition boards when the people who are auditioning and casting have seen you around for a decade or so? Then, again, I think, is it wrong to aspire towards that goal, especially when you have the aptitude and the talent for it? The answer is no. Of course, it's not wrong to try for something that you believe is your calling. But this is when destiny comes into play. And this is true not only in acting but in life in general. I know so many people who have tried their hardest to get something that they are clearly cut out for but have failed. My friend Siddharth Kaushal recently failed in his last attempt to qualify for army selections. Despite being the fittest in his school, having an elder brother as a major in the army too didn't help. Another cousin of mine slogged it out to clear the civil services exam but couldn't make it, despite having been a topper in school all his life. The examples are endless. If a 10-year time frame was not good enough, there is no point ruining your entire life over it. Sometimes there's no point in fighting your destiny. Perhaps being associated with the desired field in some way or the other can help you understand your potential better, and someday you never know, you might just crack it. Had I not been an actor, I don't know what would I have been, is what I keep telling myself. I earned my way to it by dabbling in various other roles. I was a radio jockey, then a video jockey, and later a television anchor. But each time, I honestly made peace with the circumstances I was in. Though I always wanted to be an actor, I knew it's not necessary I actually become one, and even today, I say that it's not necessary that the fame lasts since this industry is extremely fickle. They say you have got only one lifetime and you should spend it chasing your dreams, but you can't keep chasing them for the rest of your life and end up becoming a frustrated, bitter human being. What good is your life then? Coming back to my story, life seemed breezy after I gave up my BDS sit and took up arts with English honors at DAV College, Chandigarh. I was amongst the very few, okay, to be honest, the only one of the theatre student who attended a few classes. Somehow, education meant a lot to me and still does. My batch of Agas was an amazing, dedicated lot. We used to practice for 17 hours at a stretch sometime for youth festivals. The energy was infectious and we were eager learners. This was the first batch in the history of DAV College that stepped out of Chandigarh's cozy cocoon and went on to win competitions at IIT Bombay and BITS Pilani. Of course, we had our share of rough experiences before we actually got there. The most vivid one was in the year 2002. The first time our college ventured out of its home turf and participated at BITS Pilani's College Fest. I was a part of the theatre group as well as the debate team and was super kicked about it. I think I packed a little more than just the essentials in a modest VIP suitcase that was bursting as it seems, opposed to the rest of the team that coolly carried around their ultra light rucksacks. That was a laugh out loud moment for many, but I didn't know that the sound of the mockery was ominous and was going to last us the entire trip. There were around 20 of us, and our contingent leader was Sunil Bissa, who conveniently made us catch a train to Pilani via Bikaner as he had to meet his parents. Unfortunately, we came to know about his personal agenda much later, for which we beat him up, but the damage was done. Instead of a 9-hour journey, we would reach Pilani in just about 24 hours. Since he was our leader, we couldn't do much as the rest of the trip depended on him. So we quietly made peace with the aloo puri we were fed at his home in Bikaner and the rickety bus ride that almost broke our backs en route to Pilani. To drown our sorrows, we started singing in the bus but were made to shut up by the conductor. The silence accentuated our aches along with the cracking sounds of our bones. Thanks to Mr. Bissa, we reached Pilani the next night, and boy, was it worth it? This was the first time we had shared a campus with pretty girls. My mind was blown away. Obviously, not just by the mere sight of the girls, but the kind of camaraderie the girls and boys shared. It was beyond anything I had ever experienced. They were chatting, having heated discussions, painting, singing, jamming, smoking up, and of course, some were making out too. It was our first experience of life outside our college, and we realized that it could consist of a lot more than student politics. Words, Punjabi swear words, and the Gedi route. Those who don't know the Gedi route, wait for my next book. Actually, anyone from Chandigarh can write a thesis on it, and I will be surprised and disappointed if the term doesn't make it to the Oxford Dictionary soon. It does have a Wikipedia entry though. This was the first time we heard rock bands live. Trust me when I say that for those few days, we Chandigarh boys had our brows perpetually touching our hairlines as we witnessed so many new things. The jamming sessions and rock bands were something we had seen only on MTV and Channel V. The debate competition didn't go too badly, and I was among the top 5 participants. But what turned out to be the most humiliating experience was our street play. We didn't really know what went into a street play, but since we were the best in our city, frogs in a pond is the item that comes to my mind here. We were confident we could manage it. This, of course, was crushed to tiny pieces later on. We had converted a popular stage play called Toya into a street play format, but this was not the reason behind our being at the receiving end of a mass mockery session. It was our uber cool dress code. Since it was our first exposure to the outside world, we had wanted to make a lasting impression. Last it did, but definitely not in the way we wanted it to. We were dressed in a black trousers and crisp white full sleeved shirts for a street play. We thought we had done a brilliant job. But as we looked around at the crowd from colleges like Hindu and KMC Delhi, we realized that some of them looked like waiters and some like unnerved cricket umpires. It would be an understatement to say that we were shit intimidated by those wearing jeans and kurtas. They had confidently slung scarves around their necks and went around dancing and interacting with the audience during their act. We were overawed, and of course, they were over entertained by our not so intentional buffoonery. Needless to say, the girls we wanted to impress the most were smirking at us, and by the end of the festival, we became girl repellents. Anyway, after this highly enlightening and humiliating experience, it was time to come back home. Simpletons we may have been, but we were not losers. So the next year we went to IIT Bombay's Fest, where we once again met the same teams from Hindu and KMC College. In fact, I first met Vasudha, a member of the band Asma, a product of pop stars, at these fest. She was from Hindu College. Anyway, this time we presented a play called Lohe Ka Swad, and it was critically acclaimed. But this wasn't enough for us, so we came back the next year with another play called Man Ki Bhadas, a musical. And from being a bunch of losers out of their depth, we went on to win the first prize, beating the same people who had once mocked us, the small town kids that we were. We couldn't control the tears of joy that came flooding from our eyes. As I write this, my eyes still get moist when I remember the experience. We couldn't sleep the entire night due to our excitement. Among the many memorable experiences, I can recollect one more: my audition day at Agas. The rest of the team, including Rochak, was already a part of the theatre group. Then came my audition, and I was introduced as Rochak's friend. I was made to deliver the lines of Rochak's character. The end result was that I got the role, and he was strangely moved backstage. It was funny at that time, and it didn't affect our relationship one bit. There was another incident where I literally attacked my friend Vikas Sharma's manhood, not deliberately, of course. It was during one of the youth festivals organized at Chandigarh's MCM College for Girls. We were staging a play called Kumaraswamy, where I was playing the title role, and blame it on my lenses or my bad or good, depending on your point of view, aim, that I nearly castrated Vikas in a sword fighting sequence. Funny as it may sound now, back then it was quite tragic, and the poor guy managed to perform despite getting stitches in his sensitive area. I belong to an amazing batch, and the best part is that all the people in my group have come on their own. Punit Khanna is a chief assistant director, Ravi Yuvraj Panthi, an ex-army officer, Sameer Kaushal, a guitarist who is also a major in the army, Chuck Kohli, a music composer, Charandeep Kalra, an editor and producer, Aviral Gupta, a businessman and still a theatre enthusiast, and Vikas Sharma, an assistant director. When I see my friends doing well in their fields, it gives me immense happiness, and I hope this story becomes an inspiration for many to make the most of their talent. While in college, all of us were actors, but life took its course, and all of us chose what best fitted us according to our personalities, our aptitudes, and above all, our destinies. The best example is that of my army buddy Samir, who has staged many short plays in his army circles and is a hit at all parties thanks to his mimicking and guitar playing skills. Aviral, who is a successful businessman in Chandigarh, once aspired to be an actor but couldn't make it to Mumbai because of circumstances. Yet he didn't let the artist in him die. He is playing the lead protagonist in a one act play written and directed by my wife, Tahira, and they have been successfully staging it across the country these days. The crux of the matter is that one has to be honest to one's passion, be it gardening, cooking, acting, teaching, sculpting, pottery, or academics. If the circumstances are not congenial to promoting your talent, then you must create that environment yourself. You could be a doctor to the world, but a potter at a home. You could be an army officer at the battlefield, but an ace guitarist among your friends. You could be a dentist at work, but a dramatist in front of your son. This idea is to derive satisfaction by making an endeavor to not let your passion die. Hashtag code 2. Here, the code lies in recognizing the path life has charted out for you and doing that within a stipulated time frame. I have seen many lives go waste, and it is extremely heartbreaking to see young people wander aimlessly while remaining irrationally hopeful. I feel that the code lies in being pragmatic along with being emotionally idealistic.